Good evening, everybody. How we doing? Happy Wednesday. Ahoy, ahoy, ahoy. Good evening, tattooed zoologists. Batman. Mimicus. Colonel. Yamail Angmar. Stoogie. Cameron. Mini Painting Dad. Chris Bailey. Strawberry Pudding. Philip G. Forge Father. Vulcan Histan himself. Good morning. Good evening. Good afternoon. Wherever you are in the world. Whichever is appropriate for you. Good day. Good night. How are you? Are you okay? I am very tired. I have been painting like a demon the last couple of days. It's quite cerebral stuff, you know. Quite a lot going on. I finished off a thing I showed you on Monday. I'm going to show it to you now. So I finished the Snarlfangs. There you go. We have our unit of Snarlfang riders that I built and primed back when they came out. So that's like 2 years in the making. See, we get to everything eventually. Eventually we get to it. So, yeah. It's been a busy day. And I've been painting other stuff that I can't tell you about today. Oh, those are nice. Thank you, Colonel. I appreciate that. Hey, Warhipster, thank you for your paint tutorials for the Warhammer 40k Astra Militarum. You're very welcome. I've been enjoying the Astra Militarum. I bought this because I have plans, which is what we're talking about tonight. I think you want one of these, and I think you want that for your Krieg, because you don't get a Castellan equivalent. A Castellan is very, very good, but you don't get a Castellan that can go in the Death Corps of Krieg. So, actually using this makes sense because of the Invonzo that you get if you get the power off. If not, you hurt yourself. Theoretically, Josh, if you were painting new Gits, how would you do their skin? Gut Ripper Flesh or a different green? I would use Gut Ripper Flesh. And then I would shade it with Bale Tan Green. And then I would highlight it with Skarsnik Green. That's what I would do. Theoretically. Theoretically speaking. I already have one of those Warhipster converted for my Krieg and will be posting the pictures on Instagram soon. Well, I look forward to seeing it. I was thinking about trying to like use Inquisitor models that have got like full helmets or whatever, but I just bought the Primaris Psyker. Because I wouldn't do any work to those other miniatures to make them look more Kriegy. Because I'm not a converter. And I have so many bits I need to get rid of. I could for anybody out there who is a massive kit basher and scratch builder, you would have a field day with the amount of extra pieces that I have here. I'm not even kidding. What I need to do, there's a project that I need to go through, which will probably take me a whole weekend, which is to clip all of the spare bits off sprues, put them in little bags, and then label the bags as to what they are the spare bits for. I think those Snarlfangs look fine. A good example of something that didn't need the upcoming refresh. Is there something different about those new ones? Oh yeah, the new ones are much bigger. The new ones, what are they called? Snarlpack Cavalry. They have 2 gobos on the back. And then you have the chariots, which are new. The Doom Diver, which is a redo, but it's so much bigger. There's Drogs, the Sun Chomper. They previewed a Snarl boss, actually, the other day. They talked about it in one of the articles. I'm pretty sort of sure it's a new model, because it has these little retainers as well that are also on Snarlfangs. There's the characters on chariots. There's loads of stuff coming for the Gloomspite Gits. Loads of stuff. The Git mob looks really fun. It looks really fun, and it's a really fun army to paint and put together, I think. I think one thing I'm waiting to see is what the points are going to look like for them, because I think they'll be really fun if they have power behind them, and also they're not criminally undercosted so that you have to buy loads of them. Because that will be a tough army to put together. But I really like the idea of everything on a wolf, basically. I like it a lot. I think it's really cool. Gloomspite Spearhead coming from you. What, the old one? I haven't got it. There's some bits I would need to purchase in order to do it. And I haven't got the time to do it at the moment. I might do it later down the line. I think the thing with Gloomspite Gits is I think there's 3 different ways. Well, there will be 3 different ways that you'll be able to build the army, right? You've got the Troggoth's version of things with Trug, the Troggoth King. You've now got the Git mob that's coming with Drogs and all the wolves. And then you've got the Moon Clans and all that kind of thing with the Boingrot Bounders and all that kind of stuff. And, like, the squigs and things, they just don't really appeal to me at all. So it's just like I'm not sure I would want to do it to any extent of interest. Whereas something like the Git mob really does interest me. Again, I just want to know what it's all going to cost in terms of points. Like if 5 Snarlfang riders costs 100 points and 3 Snarlpack Cavalry costs 150 points. It's going to be a lot of models to fill out that army, you know. Evening, Josh. Currently working on my Krieg army. How would you make Night Lord's blue grim dark without losing too much of the vibrancy of the colour itself? I've seen Griff Charger grey as a wash. I don't know. Night Lord's blue is already really, really dark, so I don't see how shading it's really going to improve it. It might be that you want to put a little bit of Nuln Oil in the recesses, but it's probably a waste of time. I just wouldn't go for stark highlights. I would go for darker highlights, basically. Yeah. I wouldn't put too much depth into it because it's already really dark. So if you start putting Griff Charger Grey or something over the top of it, it starts to move towards black. And at that point, you might as well paint it black and highlight it blue. Would be what I would say. That's my opinion on it, basically. I am now at the point where I have to choose which cannon to put on the Krieg artillery team. Why do they never put the names of weapons in the instructions? Well, that's the thing, Dahi. You don't actually have to. You don't have to glue it in. You can just push it in. If you're going to glue it in, then absolutely fine. I can tell you what the names of them are. I can tell you which one is which. Basically, the long gun. So this one, that one there. That one is the siege gun, basically. Let me just make sure I've got them in front of me. Yeah, so that one there, that's the siege cannon. The heavy mortar is the one that's not that. It's just got a little pot on it. You glue either that one or the long gun into the same frame. The heavy quad launcher is the thing with the sort of 4 barrels that are kind of spaced like that, and then the multiple rocket launcher is the one that's just a bunch of rockets kind of strapped together. But I do agree with you on that one. They should put the names of things into the instructions, especially when it's a faction that it's very difficult to figure out what that is. Because the issue I have with it, not putting the names of the guns in, was Votan. Votan was a real struggle because we'd never seen most of those guns before. You can figure out what a bolter is. You can figure that out nice and easy because the rules say you can have 10 of them, and you look in the thing and you go, oh yeah, there's 10 of them there, so there's that one. But then when it's the other weapons for Votan, it becomes your guess is as good as mine. So it needed to have names on it. It really needed to have names on it. I would suggest that Tau is also the same. It's having been around with Tau for quite a while, you know what they are now. Like a burst cannon is fairly obvious, but like it wasn't initially obvious between what a flamer or a plasma looked like, for example. Yeah, so when it's new, you need to put the names of it, because as you say, Forgefather, you can look at the weapon profiles, but what if you don't know the weapon profiles? Also, that's a lot of extra to look at the back, go, what's that? Oh, I don't know. Okay, go and look in the codex, find it, cross-reference. It might be different as well, because things change between releases. And so on and so forth. Equipment's name codex, page 144 plus 145. Is that in the Krieg, in the Votan one? That's why I live by the rule of cool. I'm with you there, Fake Street Spirit. Hey Hipster, I hope you've been well. Curious with all the Eldar you've been doing if we might see a Harlequin from you. Diamonds scare me. Well. The short answer is no. Not for a long time. And I'm incredibly hesitant to do any more Eldari because those videos have not gone. They are not popular. And this is what was interesting to me is, you know, left, right, and centre, hearing nothing about excitement about the Eldari videos. All of my Astra Militarum videos this year have done better than the Eldari ones have so far. Do you think anything was missing from the latest Imperial Guard refresh? Personally, think they need a few more characters, especially for Krieg. Yeah, I think unit-wise, I think there's only one thing missing from this range, and it's a... Well, you could split it into two, but it's basically a non-named single character model for the Krieg. Like the Castellan. That would have been beautiful. Just a Death Corps of Krieg Marshal. Something like that. And you could have a Death Rider Marshal or a Marshal on foot. One of those two absolutely would have been fine. Spot on. 10 out of 10, no notes. Because you just need something that can join a unit if you don't want to paint a command squad for every single infantry squad, if you want to have everything attached. So that's the only thing I think that's missing datasheet-wise. I think model range-wise, one of the things that is clearly missing for the Krieg is an upgrade kit like the Cadian's got, but a little bit more in-depth. Because you should really be able to get a Krieg upgrade kit that has like artillery crew in it, so that you can put them on your basilisks or things like that instead of the Cadians. And when you look in the codex, there's a lot of pictures of them having done that, but they've taken the siege crew, the field artillery, the artillery teams models, and put them on basilisks. And you shouldn't have to buy an artillery team for the crew to put on your basilisks if that's what you want to do. My Krieg box arrived today, and I'm struggling on what scheme to go for my Krieg. Love Josh's one, but I am a big fan of the classic blue one. I think you can get... This is the thing with Krieg. I think if you're planning on doing lots of them, you can get away with doing platoons from a ton of different legions. You can do. I'm going for a block of 20. As part of the plan. So the plan for Krieg Infantry Section 1 is a block of 20 Krieg with Primaris Psyker, a heavy weapons team, and a Krieg command squad also attached to the block of 20. And then a unit of 10 engineers, because I need to get another box of engineers, basically. So to finish off my first Krieg infantry section, I need a command squad, heavy weapons squad, and a box of engineers to go with it. And that will be a finished, in my mind, Krieg infantry section. And then from then, I might do another one and do it in a different scheme entirely. I preferred when the lore for the Krieg was just no-name characters, but identified by their serial number. After all, they are all clones, but I am okay with named characters and looking forward to more. Yeah, I mean, we could see something like that, right? I'm really struggling to pick a scheme for my Krieg. Any suggestions? I'm wanting something that'll be easy to use contrast on for infantry, but can match well with traditional paints for vehicles. Yeah, I mean... It depends what tone you want to go for. Do you want to go for brown or green? I think that would be the place I would start. I would kind of pick a tone, essentially. I've gone for basically tan, right? So mine's brown, based on brown, right? So I can then achieve that with 2 spray paints, some dry brushing, and a bit of contrast painting, right? And it will fit really nicely. It fits really nicely with my Krieg. There you go. See? So when you put the two together, it works. So yeah, I think the thing I would start off by recommending is just go for... Pick a type of tone you want to go for. Like, one thing you don't see very often is very bright Krieg, which would be interesting to see at the very least. Or very, what I would call heraldic Krieg. You know, so like bright blue uniforms, like bright blue, like, or sort of salamanders, jewelly green, or something like that. Or purple. There is a Burgundy scheme, though, in the Codex, which is very pretty. That's also very nice. Are you going to do any Ogryns in this Astra Militarum army? I don't think so. I don't really want them. I'm thinking more muted natural colours, browns and greens, almost like World War I English uniforms. Yeah, I mean, so in that instance, I would suggest, if you want to go down that path, you're probably looking at something like Creed Camo and Wildwood, being 2 fairly heavily featured colours. And you could go for... you could maybe go for something like Xandri Dust for the armour. And then shade it with green to give it a sort of a military green, as it were. Naya Bella, thank you very much for becoming a member. That is incredibly generous of you. You are our first new member of the day. I very much appreciate that. We are now 19 away from our next goal of 525. So that would be awesome if we could get there. Also, if you would like to support the stream for free, which you definitely can do, you need to hit that like button. That's completely free. Tattoo Zoologist, thank you very much for 1 gifted membership. Legend. Absolute legend. Josh, do you have a prime in black and dry brush your raised areas? No. No. Well, yeah, on terrain. Not for miniatures, though. No, I've never done that. I honestly have no idea what I want to do. They all just look so neat. Yeah, I mean, it is a tricky one. I decided on a whim, basically. I was looking in the codex. I was looking in the codex to see what the colour schemes they had in here was. And I was surprised that they didn't have just like a page of different regiments or anything like that. I mean, they don't really tend to do that anymore now anyway. You don't get the... for lack of a better word, you don't really get the vector drawings anymore. You get some artwork and then you get the briefest of showcases. But basically... it was this picture, which I shall find. Yeah, there we go. That one. That picture there. Where I was like, I want to do that, but slightly different. Basically. And I was like, that looks great. That looks sick. And basically, the only thing I wanted to change about that picture was how... how bright the armor was, because I didn't like it being that sort of almost diarrhea brown. I wanted it to be a sort of more healthy brown. So you can see that scheme again on the first page there. Yeah, see that? You can see it like here, for example, and you can see it over here, all that kind of thing. Yeah, it's basically just what I wanted to do. Thank you very much, Cameron, for the $4.99. Can't gift memberships on mobile, so put this towards the ever-growing Primarch fund. we need to get Alfarius. Petition for a diarrhea brown contrast. I mean, you already have it. It's Garagak Sewer if you just thin it down a little bit. If you thin Garagak Sewer by 1 part contrast medium, you basically get it. But that was the thing about how I was painting the Krieg, is I was like, if I'm going to do 20 of these, if I'm going to do 100 of them, or if someone out there is going to do 100 of them, it can't be a scheme that requires you to thin down paint the same way every time. It has to be straight from the pot stuff, because you're doing 20 of them, or in my case I'm doing, what would that be, 27? How many are in the command quad? 6 or 7? 27 plus 3 or 4, so that'd be 31 plus 10 engineers, that's 41, plus a remote mine is 42. Yeah, and then 10 Death Riders, 52, and then Dreer, 53. So that's 53 bodies. And I was like, yeah, it's got to be a scheme that I can I can knock out. Which is why I did it the way I did it. What happens if you switch the order of applying contrast paints in painting? Bile red to instead of swapped with 1-to-1 Blood Angels red and medium. Well, that is an interesting question. Basically, Bile red is very strong, and it is a single pigment contrast paint. So if you apply it over the top of Blood Angels red, you'll have less shading. Basically, it'll wipe the shading out. If you change the order in which you apply contrast paints, you will get tonal differences. It doesn't always work out the same way. So, an example being, if you put down Ultramarines blue and then put Black Templar over the top of it, what you do get is you get a black version of blue. If you put Black Templar down, and then you put Ultramarines blue over the top of that, what you get is a blue version of black. That's the way to think about it. You see what I mean? If you change the order of things. Because it's always contrast paints are a reflection of what's underneath. So if you have a mistake underneath, or if you have a different tone underneath, that is what it will generate if you do it the opposite way. Makes sense? Love from Ireland, dude. Love the channel. And I love you too, Royal War Gaming. Thank you very much. Mark Watson, thank you very much for the $9.99 for the fund. That's very kind of you. Look, we need to get Alfarius, but what's the next one? How far down is 30k Mortarion on the do-to list? He's not far down it. He's on the... What I have is I have two to-do lists. I have priority alpha, for lack of a better word, which is, let's say, this Saturday's stuff, okay? And then I have my priority beta, which is my list of everything else that I have to do, / want to do, / things that you've asked for, and they're in a various set of order. And Mortarion is very near the top of priority beta, basically. Good evening, Jungle Camper. My submission for this month is coincidentally a Primarch. Maybe it will give you inspiration. I only did one a few weeks ago. I did the biggest one. Oh. But I look forward to seeing it. We need more music. Let's go for some lovely blues. Let's just put some blues on. Nice. How many videos have you got in the backlog now? Feels like it's been non-stop this whole year so far. That is a great question, Cameron. Allow me to count them, whilst also censoring some of the things I have to say. So, I have left to come out Fugan, Assaman, Elatok, Samehan, Baeltan, Eandon. Yeah. That's right. Because we've done Ulthway. I then have Snarlfang Riders. I have and I have I then have and then I have Abla and Zada. So yeah, about 16. Minimum. And that's not including other stuff. That is what is currently planned on the docket. We have Kassakin, Baneblade, Rogaldorn, Primaris Psycho. That's another 4. We have a Clade Adamus Assassin to do, actually. And then we have Helm, Frecker, Thorn, Hera. If I already said her twice, I can only apologise. And then of what you guys want, we have Mortarion, Alfarius, Thranduil, and Mirkwood Elves. So that's the to-do list currently. Now, of those videos, I filmed all the Eldari ones. I filmed the Snowfang Riders. I filmed the Heraldry and the I've got Bazda and Herder to paint, and I've got Herder and Herder then to paint and build and film. Did you get the elves? Which elves? Witch elves? I haven't got any witch elves. Actually, that is a lie. I do have some witch elves. Still have Blackhawk to do one of these years. Yeah. I have a lot of orcs to do. Didn't hear Bard's family on that list. Well, it's not on there. The Mirkwood Elves. No, they're still out of stock. Do you have a full Krieg army now? No, not yet. We are a little ways off on that. We need to finish our first. We need to finish our first section, basically. So of the Krieg, that will put us for the Krieg section. That's 195, 290, 365. Oh, 400 560. So, yeah, once I've finished off my first section, I will be a quarter of the way there. EC tutorials too. Maybe. We'll have to see. I don't know when that box is coming out. It might happen at some point. I bought the life-size Leviathan axe from God of War. Josh could not help myself. Well, I wish... I wish I had a life-size Leviathan axe from God of War, Tattooed Zoologist, but I simply don't. What is the Warhipster yard sale going rate for one Lickus? I need people to watch the video. Please watch the video. It's doing so badly. The Iron Jaws video that I did a couple of days ago is performing better than that one. It's truly spectacular. It does also kind of prove my point, but that's not the point. We're not here to gloat. I've not come in for a gloat. But yeah, that is the slight. Genuinely just watched it. Such a cool minute. I'll put it on loop for you. Well, that's very kind of you, Joe. It's just I was surprised. I was shocked. I was like, the Baharoth one is doing better than that, and I'm gonna be really surprised if Fugan or Asserman do any better than that. Will Bard's family do better than the Eldar? Absolutely, it won't. No one will watch it. About 10 people in this chat will watch it, and that'll be it. I have 40 stabbers to paint, and I'm debating should I stick with black robes, but I'm thinking blue and red robes. That would certainly be interesting. Which would be the primary colour there, red or blue? We'll all organise to make Bard's family your most popular video. Well, this is the thing, Taz. There are currently 84 people watching. If 84 people watch the video, it'll get 84 views. That's so rough. Really thought the new Eldar would be a hit for you, considering how many people bang on about needing new Eldar all the time. You think, Cameron? Alan's correct. Let me tell you what happens when Aspect Warriors come out. Right? When a new Aspect Warrior Shrine comes out, okay, what you have is a bunch of people who love Eldar and adore Eldar, and they have massive Eldar collections. And because they have massive Eldar collections, they look at them and they go, oh, they're very nice. I've already got all the ones I need, though. I don't want them. So that bunch of people are out, okay? Then you have the other group of people who are the super competitive crowd who want to know if they're good. And if the rules aren't good enough, they're out. They won't buy them. But they're the ones that complain about wanting it so that they can put them into their armies. So frequently when you see, we desperately need new plastic insert Aspect Warrior here, it's because in the current iteration of the rules, they're really strong. And people want to get them because they don't want to have to deal with Finecast. Which is absolutely fine. But that is the problem with this. You know? And like Phoenix Lord wise, I thought for sure that the Phoenix Lords would be really popular, apart from one of them. Especially the one that doesn't exist. And it was proved out by watching the sales over the weekend. Lycus, gone immediately. Everyone's bought it. And everyone's bought it, A, because it's a fascinating model, and it's fun to paint. But also, all the hardcore Eldar fans don't have a Phoenix Lord for their Warp Spiders. So they've bought it, because it's the only thing missing from their range. And as well they should, because it's an amazing model. It is really, 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 really nice. The rest of it, though, do you need it? Mimicus, thank you very much for 10 gifted Warhipster memberships. Mimicus, you are an absolutely massive legend. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Right now in the game, Fire Dragons, Asserman, and Lycus are very, very, let's say, enthusiastically tuned. Well, fine. Lycus actually lasted a while in the US. Fugan and Fire Dragons were gone almost instantly. That's interesting because in the US 40k scene is on the whole more competitive than the UK one. On the whole, generally. Which must mean that Fire Dragons are a reasonably competitive thing. Here in Canada, Asserman is the only one still in stock. He might still be in stock here, actually. I'm going to check. Explore the range. He is not currently in stock by the looks of things. He's finally sold out. Yeah, he's finally sold out as of... Well, I guess I checked it yesterday and he was still in stock. So he's sold out sometime between about 1 o'clock yesterday and today. So it's taken 5 days for him to... 4 days for him to sell out. Which, given as, you know, generally people like to say... Games Workshop gives all of their copies to content creators, and so nobody gets one. Proves that that's not true. Jacob Schutz, thank you very much for the $2. Astartes 2 paint guides to chapters soon. Oh, I've already done all of them. I've done so many of them. I'm trying so hard not to do things again. What have I not done that's in that trailer? I only watched the trailer once. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. Coming 2026. I don't care. I'll care about that in a year. Good evening, Demogorgon. Hello, Pritters. Astra Militarum was barren for a while post-Krieg. They finally restocked it, though, finally. Well, and that's what's interesting, okay? So here's the thing, right? And this is why this is actually a really interesting case study in YouTube content creation, right? Because it's impossible. You cannot predict these things, okay? I released a video called Contrast Plus How to Paint Fulgrim Transfigured. Now, I would guess to all of you, that would make sense that that one would do quite well. It was also timed quite well in that it came out shortly after the announcement that the new Fulgrim, there's the new Fulgrim model, there's me with a video of here's Fulgrim Transfigured. So lots of people might have been out there looking at stuff or news or trying to figure out stuff about Fulgrim, right? I released a video called Fulgrim Transfigured, and to my mind, that is a video that you can almost kind of guarantee will do pretty well. And it did spectacularly well, more so than I thought it did. It's on about 13,000 views, which is great, especially for a year-old resin kit, basically, right? But it's timed very well, okay? Now, about 2 weeks later, I released Contrast Plus How to Paint the 310th Siege Regiment Death Corps of Krieg. That video is 1,000 views behind Fulgrim Transfigured. And, bear in mind, that is on a veteran guardsman kit that has been available for 4 or 5 years. Okay? But it's just your Boggo infantry. That video's done very well. That's the most popular video from the Krieg set, to be fair, because the rest of it nobody's had for a while, so you would expect those numbers to start going up. But people are able to paint these now, okay? I've released the Lycus video, which you would expect to do better than this. It flat hasn't. It's done so badly. What you get when you upload videos to YouTube, it ranks them based on your last 10, and it will tell you how it's performing against the previous 10. And Lycus has been 10 of 10. Size of the Emperor is one of them. Well, there you go. Hello, Star. How you doing? I bought one of everything, as I only got back into Warhammer last edition, and no way was I buying Finecast. There you go. Good job. Highly recommend. It's perfect for you. Lycus isn't out for public until next week. I'd guess people will watch it then. Maybe. Maybe not. A 10 out of 10 video, though, basically because it's a 10 out of 10 video, means that it hasn't performed very well, which means YouTube is unlikely to surface it as a popular video of mine. So when you look up how to paint Lycus, mine won't be near the top. if you're a neutral non-subscriber, if you're somebody who's just, let's say you have a completely clean account and you go to YouTube and you go how to paint Lycus, mine won't be at the top. It won't be anywhere near the top because it hasn't done very well in its initial release. Any opportunities for collabs, podcasts with other content creators that could help boost your exposure? I'm of the opinion that, well, I like to be asked because they want me. I don't have anything to sell other than my YouTube channel, so I don't like to ask other people to go on their thing. And I think that's where you go. Yeah, I would absolutely. If someone wants to collaborate, I would love to. If I can make it work in terms of my time. But yeah, I'm always up for anything. But I don't like to impose. It's the same thing for like sponsorship stuff. I don't like to go and say, I don't know if you know me, but I have over 75,000 subscribers, and I think you should send me one of your things for free so I can tell people about it. I don't do that. That feels weird to me. Slowly working on the tech thralls from my Mechanicum battle group. Nice. What, small, tiny version or big version? Does YouTube allow you to repost older videos for current events? I can't push them, as it were. 3,769 views for the Iron Jaws. That good? No, but it's not a video I would expect to do particularly well. That's filling quite a niche thing, right? It's for all the people who only feel... That video is for people who only feel confident following my videos, and they've done everything else in the Iron Jaws range, but they just want to know how to do the brutes and the mega boss. That's who that's for. But as of right now, it is currently performing better in the same time period. So what I'll show you. This is what it looks like, right? So that's what it looks like. Top recent videos. In the first 1 days and 1 hours, comparing views of previous 10 videos excluding shorts. How to Paint Lycus is there. Ulthway is there. Iron Jaws is there. Baharoth is there. That's the engineers. That's Dreer. That's the artillery team. That's the sprue review for the Eldar. And that one there is Death Riders. And then that one's the I Fixed My Cadians. So in the first 1 day and 1 hour. So these ones, 5, 5, 3, 3, 3. Those are what I would say are, those are really good videos for me. And then these are okay videos. This is bad. That's really bad, especially on Lycus. That's really bad. So yeah, that's it's baffling. It is truly baffling. Who knows? Any plans to do another collab with Liam? Bit of guard on guard action with Joe. That's what we really want to do. I think I donated for the Hedonite Knight Spearhead a few months back. Did you ever pick it up, Josh? Yes. It's right here. That's how you know it's important. It's right here. It lives here in my... when I need something close. Okay, marketing strategy. You post the videos early for channel members, but release the bulk of them on release day. Do a short with the mini painted and the list of the paints to whet the appetite. I would do that, but I can't publish a video early to anyone, otherwise I'd break my NDA. Because you can see a members only video. So if I go, here's how to paint Lycus, and also my workflow is really hard, like, because it's just me. It's just me on my own. So, yeah, it's a really tricky one. Basically, in terms of my time management, if I had someone who could edit my videos for me, it would be a lot easier to be able to do stuff like that. But like, I don't have. Get yourself on page 3. Subscribe. Doesn't members' early videos mess up the reach once they go live? It does indeed. It does indeed. It doesn't surface it out to as many people. I mean, for members as you can, and for public when the mini gets home 2 weeks after pre-order. See, I have thought about this in the past, about releasing paint videos the week it comes out. The problem is you miss the bounce. Everyone's moved on. The online conversation is ahead of where the customer base is. It is unfortunate, but it's a case of what you have is you have a lot more people who find a video before it goes out and use that as buying confidence, or that they know that that's the one they're going to use. They do their research before they get the miniature. They don't do their. A lot of people don't do their research as they have the miniature. So if you release the video 2 weeks later, it will die. It won't do well because the conversation's moved on. Because everyone's talking about the next thing. So if everybody else is talking about well, let's say this weekend, if everybody's releasing Gitmob videos and you go how to paint Deathcore of Krieg, it doesn't do very well at all. It is an intriguing balancing act. But I've seen it happen in action in terms of like the what's the word of it? Leviathan and Scabentide. The videos in the 2 weeks before it comes out do spectacularly well. Once it's in everybody's hands, they drop off. Everyone always seems to be looking ahead to the next thing coming out the second something comes out. I mean, there's been almost no spare time, it feels, between Deathcore of Krieg, Eldar, and now Gitmob. Well, that's because there hasn't been. No, there was. There was Empire of Man as well. That also happened. Did it? Yes, it did. Didn't it go Krieg, Empire, Eldar? Oryx happened before that. It did. Yes. The days have all merged into one. As you can see, I'm already on 92 models painted this year, so I have forgotten more than I have remembered. Oryx, Warclans, Empire, Death. Yeah, Warclans was this year. Warclans was first. I can just look at my. I can look at my YouTube channel. Content. It went. Oryx, Warclans, Krieg, and then I didn't do a sprue review on the 18th, so that would have been Empire, and then we had Eldari, and then Gitmob is coming out this week, and who knows what's beyond that. I know I certainly don't. Here's me rewatching your videos each time I start a new batch of MESBG to paint it when I'm following a tutorial. That's because you're a legend, Pritters. Hello, Tim. I finished my first model of 2025 today. Oh, that's awesome. What did you paint? I forgot Oryx happened. Yeah, so did everyone else. It's because it's not a particularly gangbusters release. It's the Hobgrot Slitter boss, and the tower, and the manifestations, as well as a spearhead. But the spearhead is a collection of old and very old in one box. There's nothing new in there, basically. Hello, how would you paint red scorpions, Josh? Let's have a look, shall we? Red scorpions. Boo. Oh, this is going to be one of those ones where it doesn't actually have a decent image, isn't it? So my inclination here is looking at them, averaging it out based on what I can see. My inclination here is to paint them is to prime them in grey sear, and then it's to paint them with Mechanicus standard grey for the grey, use Imperial Fist for the yellow, Black Legion for the black, and then Flavour to Taste for the rest of it. Because the grey's nice, but the quickest way to get that grey is Mechanicus standard grey. You could shade it with a bluish shade, something like Drakenhof maybe, or Nuln Oil, depending on which way you want to go. That would be my instinct. Will you do more manifestations for the other factions that is coming out? If they send them to me, I will. Followed Matt's Hobby Hour Tyrannid scheme and did a Ravener. Awesome. Will you do more manifest? Yeah, we did that. Woo MESBG. Yeah, we got MESBG to do. We've got a gap after the. There is a gap. I've talked about it before. At the moment, I've got a gap in 2 weeks. In 3 weeks. I've got a gap in 3 weeks' time where I will do Freka, Thorn, Helm, and Hera. And if we have time, I'll murder Bard's family as well. And yes, I'm not sure I fully answered that question about manifestations. I will do them as and when, if Games Workshop send them to me. They are a little bit intense, though, some of them. So it's always like, ugh. How would you paint Carbanda's armor? Let's have a look, shall we? Warhammer.com. Carbanda. General Demon of Sickness. I would do it black and gold, probably. My instinct here is to go Black Legion all over the armor, shade it with Drakenhof Nightshade, then highlight it with Dark Reaper Thunderhawk Blue and Rust Grey, and then for all that brass, even though it's not technically a full brass, it's to go for Retributor armor, shade it with Agrax Earthshade, then probably relayer it with Skull Crusher brass, and then highlight it with a 2-to-1 mix of Stormhost Silver and Skullcrusher Brass, just to put it a little bit more towards brass. Would be my instinct on how I would do that. Would you do it full bronze like Angron? No, because you need something to break up all the red and orange. So if you're going to do the wings black like Angron, because that's the thing with Angron, right, is his wings are black with red spines. You can do bronze all over. If you do bronze all over, followed by red body and reddish orange wings, that's basically 3 different shades in the same color area. It will look muddy. It's like the challenge with Fugan, right? When you look at something like Fugan is red and orange, and it's like the red and orange occupy a similar color space, so you have to try and get separation between the two, which is the challenge of doing that video. It's not just a case of paint orange, paint red over, and it's fine. There needs to be a little bit more that goes into it for those colors to move further away from each other. If it's all brass and the wings are all orange and the body's all red, it's all the same color at that point, basically. Do you have plans for Brands Oathbound? I have them built, I have them primed. But at the moment, I don't know when I'll do them. I want to, but I'll get to them eventually. Maybe if we get a decent size enough gap, we'll do a bit of clearing the backlog, and I'll be able to do Brands Oathbound. Because I need to get a box of Dark Oath Savages. The other infantry, not the Marauders, the other one that's in the Spearhead, and I also need to get a Dark Oath War Queen. Or whatever, the Dark Oath Chieftain, whatever the character is, to do that Spearhead, the Dark Oath Spearhead. No murdering of the beautiful models will happen. You will cherish the time you paint them and they will be beautiful. They're still out of stock, by the way. Yeah, they're probably never going to come back in stock, but thank you very much for the 5 there. Justice for Bard's family. Appreciate it. Might try Black Wings to break it up as I followed your Angron Scarbrand style. Well, there you go, Grant. Like if you do paint the wings all black, then yeah, go for Angron style, because it helps separate the model. It'll make it look darker as well, to be fair. Do you think alternating the sleeve cuffs of my Krieg would work to show unit role with Night Lord's blue as the primary colour? Think colours such as yellow, red, green and grey. Yeah, it certainly could. What I would suggest is paint a unit and then put them down on a table facing away from you, as invariably that's what they will do when you play with them. And then stand up and just look and see if it does enough for you. If that's the purpose of doing it. If you could please leave a like on the stream if you're enjoying all of this painting advice. That would be very kind of you. What colour would you paint an EC Demon Prince's wings? Fleshy like Fulgrim Transfigured, or black with pinkish spines? Interesting. That is an interesting colour question. Let me look at the Demon Prince, because it's been a while. I've painted 2 of them. I always meant to go back and do 1 for each god, but that involved me buying 3 more. And then there was the question around whether or not I was going to do it. You know. Oh, it was in the... there it is. So I think the interesting thing with doing a demon prince in the colours of Slannesh, you need to make a decision on what colour you want the main skin to be. That's the first place to make the decision. If you want that to be like, let's say, the bright pink, or like, let's say if you look at like Shalaxi Hellbane or the Keeper of Secrets, right? If you want it to be that kind of classic soft grey, pale pinkish soft grey that Slannesh generally tends to have, and you want that to be the main flesh colour, what I would recommend is actually blending the spines into purple, and then you could do like the same flesh color as the face or the chest or whatever on the membranes as well. That would be okay. You could just do it like Fulgrim Transfigured's video. That would absolutely work as well. That would be probably how I would do that. Riders of Rohan are out of stock. Maybe we will see them replaced soon. Oh, I would love that so much, Brudders. I would love it very much. That would make me very happy. We could do another Rohan video, which is one of my best performing videos of all time. Which is just it fills my heart with joy that does. It's on the it's in the top. It's in the top on the top page, I believe. Yeah. How to paint Rohan battle host, now for Wrath, now for Ruin, and the Red Dawn. 50,000 views. It was published nearly 3 years ago, but that's still really good. It's done so well. Isengard is second in terms of MESBG. Isengard video came out, and that's had 49,000 views, and that was published 5 days earlier than the Rohan Battle Host video. Painting an army worthy of Mordor. That's what that's called. Oh. The tease of the Salamander supplement makes me hopeful for an Imperial Fist supplement, which makes me hopeful for a Primaris Pedro Cantor finally. Well, there you go, Jack. So here's the question about that little preview. That little preview suggests that there's going to be a Salamanders supplement. I think it could be one of three things. I think it could be a Salamander supplement. Absolutely it could. And if it is a Salamander supplement, but you don't see their Primarch, you will then see their Primarch eventually. Maybe it's a test bed to see what happens. The other option is that it is a supplement to introduce a bunch of extra Space Marine characters, much akin to that series of supplements that we got before, which you would then see things like additional plastic redos of things like Pedro Cantor. It could be that. The third option, and what I think is sadly the most likely, is that there is going to be maybe another Salamanders character, maybe more, but that actually it's Codex Space Marines version 2 of this edition, and it's where you'll see Assault Terminators and Vanguard Vets. My Evil Side of the Osgiliath set is basically done. Just some touch-ups to do on Gothmog, then to base. That's exciting. That is exciting. I like it. I like it a lot. We better get Chapter Master Tushan. That would be fun. Or it could be someone completely new you've never heard of before. Like Adrax Agatone, technically. Wasn't he a sergeant or something? He'd been mentioned before. I know Tor Garadon featured quite heavily in Fall Acadia. Ironfather Fyros, I think, was completely new. Favorite Primarch or big demon you have painted? It's a good question. I don't know if I would say any of them were really my... well, big demon, it's easy. That's Be'lakor. I love that model. I love it to death. And then I would suggest that it's not Primarch, but the other one would be Archaon. The rest of them are all just kind of very cerebral, very difficult, highly anxiety-inducing paint job, really. Because you don't want to get them wrong, because they're very expensive. And it's harder to fix your mistakes on resin, after all. So yeah, it's an interesting one. Be'lakor is definitely my favourite big demon, but Archaon, now that's a model. It's the biggest model I've ever painted. And yes, it is bigger than that. Archaon does stand taller than a Warhound Titan. I was trying to figure out, actually, the other day, if there's any big things that we haven't done yet on the channel. And there's actually not that much left in terms of centerpiece miniatures for Age of Sigmar and 40k. There's not really a ton of it left for me to do. You know, there's Kairos Fateweaver, and there's Rotigus Rainfather as well. Those are the two big demons that I haven't done. But then when it comes to like mainline Age of Sigmar, for example, it's really only Nagash, and it was Archaon or Warlord. The Warlord Titan will be twice the size of Archaon. Smaug would be sick. Smaug would be fun. I would like to paint Smaug. I just don't really have space in my flat at the moment for another house cat. Hello, Adam. How are you? Eidolon of Mathalan. Eidolon of Matalan. Alariel and Nagash. Yeah, exactly. It's not that many left to do. So really a case of, in Age of Sigmar, it's the Eidolon of Mathalan, Alariel, Nagash, and then technically Kairos, Fateweaver, and Rotigus as well, of the big boys. And then we've done all of the centerpieces, which is actually quite startling, to say the least. We're not quite halfway on Forge World Primarchs, but not far off. I'm going to have to jury rig something to do the stream for the Warlord Titan. Because my camera does not go up enough. I've got maybe... I might have to re-put it over here so that I can put it all the way up there. And you'll just see the entirety of my desk. That might be what we have to do, because it's so big. It's so big. We do also have the Celestant Prime and the Star Drake to do. Those are two other big miniatures, which Adam has sorted me out with. Says I can hook you up with an Eidolon. Don't, Adam. I don't need any more plastic at the moment. I want to get rid of it. Is Rich here? He was. I assume you mean Mr. Gwatkin. I'm assuming Mr. Richard Smith is in Scotland still, because he hasn't told me that he's returned. I'm just making that assumption. So yeah, it's just so much to do. I have yeah. This month, what are we on now? It's the 29th. We've got 2.5 days left. I think I will finish this month just shy of 100 models, which is a lot of models. Paint Carbander for me, please. It's very detailed skin compared to Plastic Demons. Well, I need to buy a Carbander. And again, I don't have room for more house cat sized miniatures because it's massive, that Carbander model. I've no idea where a Warlord Titan's going to live. No idea. It's going to live somewhere, but no idea. It might have to go up here on top of this and just have a rule of only ever going on tiptoes so that you don't go. How would you do the cream/grey of the 261st Krieg regiment? Considering that for my scheme, I like the look on the artwork I have seen. Let's have a look, shall we? 261st Krieg regiment. Let's have a look. 261st. Is that the one with the green armor? Is it green and cream? Right. So, the way I would do it is I would use Skeleton Horde. To be honest, I think for the 261st, you pretty much just want my how I fix my Cadians video. Because the armour I would do with Vulcan Green, Shade with Null Oil, Highlight with Strachan, and the fatigues I would do with Skeleton Horde, and then I would shade it with Agrax Earthshade just to bring it down. You could leave it up. It depends on how you prime it. If you prime it in Grey Seer, it'll be really cold, so it'll work. If you prime it in Wraithbone, it'll be really warm, so it would need a little bit of Agrax Earthshade, which is why I did that on the How I Fix Mercadians video. But you wouldn't necessarily have to do it if you primed in Grey Seer. Smaug is $830 Canadian. Yes, it's very expensive. He's on the dream list. Green one is the 158th. The 158th is the... Yeah, the 158th is the one with green fatigues and black armour, by the looks. But judging by the picture that I'm looking at, the 158th Siege Regiment is green with, again, with black armour and a green helmet. Based on what I'm looking at. Which Rich? There he is. We said his name several times and he's appeared. Have you got a favourite technical paint like Blood for the Blood God or Nurgle's Rot, etc.? Are there any you avoid? I think they're all good in their own different ways. I think Nurgle's Rot is excellent for swamp bases. I use it for that all the time. Blood for the Blood God is a really, really good paint. I love it. Just shiny wet blood. Easy. Perfect. Perfection. Typhus Corrosion I really like for doing rust. And what you do is you apply the Typhus Corrosion over a place that you want to do the rust, and then dry brush it once it's fully dry with Scrag Brown or Deathclaw Brown, depending on how bright you want it to be. That is guaranteed good rust every time. And it's really quick to do. What other ones are there? Nylak Oxide I think is probably the weakest, only because I think Briar Queen Chill is just better now. Because you can use Briar Queen Chill to do oxidization and verdigris as well, and actually it's subtler than Nylak Oxide, so it's less it and it stays wetter for longer and this, that, and the other, and it doesn't like leave a filmy finish over things. So you can just apply the Briar Queen Chill in the like little recesses and things where you want it to be. It leaves a very subtle hint of it. So actually, I think Briar Queen Chill's better than Nylak Oxide is. That's probably the one I'm like, it's not as good as the other three. I have been summoned, awoken from my slumber, arisen from the depths of my bathroom. Of your bathroom? Why were you sleeping in the bathroom, Rez? Are you okay? If you were to create a custom Necron scheme, what would you go for? Famously, the thing I'm not very good at is coming up with schemes. I don't know. I'd want to use lots of Castellax Bronze, though. What would you do in addition to Briar Queen if you wanted to have a heavier spot of verdigris? That is a great question. Also, hello, James. I'm not sure I said hello to you earlier. I'm saying hello to you now. Slightly heavier verdigris is then when I would possibly turn to Nylak Oxide. But I always think, in my personal opinion, when it comes to things like verdigris or rust or battle damage or chipping or cuts and scrapes and things like that, I always think less is more. So yeah, I would cleave towards using Nylak Oxide to get a much larger verdigris. But if I was going for lots of verdigris all over something, like say something like, I don't know, like Kragnos' shield, for example, I would look at from the beginning, starting with silver and then using Pterodon turquoise to create my large patch of the affected area, and then using Briar Queen or Nylak, depending on preference, to get those brighter spots of it. So essentially creating, not when it comes to things like verdigris and rust, it's not all the same colour. Of course it's not. So Pterodon turquoise works for doing larger areas of verdigris to then create the light points of the brighter stuff in and around it, if that makes sense. So like if something's really rusted, you'll have something that looks really red, but stuff will be starting to go like black and dark brown if it's a really rusted panel, for example. So actually you would be better off doing, if you were going to do a fully rusted tank, for example, you would be better off having like the bare silver underneath of the armor panel, and then stippling on dark brown, and then adding patches of rust within it to expand it out, rather than it just be a large blob of all one color. Thanks. We'll give it a watch. I'm considering that or a dark theme with red and black, whilst trying not to make them. Yeah, that is the comparisons lots of people would draw. But this is what's interesting about the Death Corps of Krieg. A lot of people say, I want to paint them like this thing from World War II. And it's like, they're World War One inspired. But that's the association a lot of people have. So yeah, you want to avoid that particular combination. I would suggest maroon or burgundy. So you can use something like Galvorback red is really, really nice. There's a really good one, actually, in the Codex. Oh, no, that's not the right book. I almost showed you the wrong book. So in the Codex, there is a picture of... So it's not going to be great, but you see this one here. There. It's really nice. Have you tried Riser over a texture base like Martian? Does it add depth? Riser Rust over Martian Iron Earth. It certainly Riser certainly adds a high point, which then you're relying on the Martian Iron Earth to produce your low lights. What I think you're better off doing if you want to make it really pop is to add an orange shade over Martian Iron Earth or Iron Crust, whichever one is still available. So you can go for like light shading in the form of Fugan Orange, or you can go for heavy shading in the form of Gryph-hound Orange or even Magma Droth Flame. But then Riser will make it pop. It'll be quite subtle over it because it's orange over orange, especially on ground. I often find with the texture paints, what you want is something that is not a polar opposite, but you want something that's bright. So that's why I always use Tyrant Skull on everything, because it's a bright bony highlight which can be used as a neutral highlight for loads of colors, but it just adds a certain different level of it changes the levels basically, and it makes it brighter. I would love to read out what you've just written there, Mr. Adam, but I don't think I don't think YouTube will be very understanding. Would you recommend a new Imperial Guard box? I think it's just Oops All Horses. Yes, I would recommend it. The Death Corps of Krieg army set. Yeah, I would, because it's a really cool box. You get all the Death Riders you'll ever need. You get the name character, you get a set of engineers, and you get a really big gun. But you also get a very, 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 very pretty codex. And the data cards for all that they're worth. How do you store your smaller minis? I have them in a vitrine closet to showcase them, but I'm running out of space, so I'm looking for a better way to store them. You don't want to follow the way I do it, Kataro. Most of my minis are just out in the shed on a table. If you want the units in it, it's brilliant. If you don't, then it's probably better waiting, I guess. Absolutely spot on. Favourite 40k character painted? Also, have you done Gazkul? I have. He's up there somewhere. Yeah, he's there. You can't see him, but he is there. There is a video on how to paint Gazkul on this very channel. What's my favourite 40k character ever painted? That's hard, because painting 40k characters is pretty boring. I mean, I've painted so many of them. No, I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that would be. They're fine. Do you paint a mini right after priming? Or if you wait, how do you not get dust on them? No, you don't paint them right after because they're still drying. I probably leave them for 8 hours minimum. You're supposed to leave them for 24, but I don't have that luxury. Yes, your miniatures can get dust on them. Best way to dust a miniature. Right there. Shade brush. Let me see if I've got a dusty one. I almost definitely do somewhere. Aha. How about you? Yeah. That is a fell bat, and as you can see, it's got a lot of dust on it. Medium shade brush. Because it's not stiff bristled, so it's not going to rub your paint off. It's nice and soft. But it will just get away all that dust. There you go. Fixed it. No time at all. I can even do the same thing on that, which does get dusty. Just using something that's got soft bristles. You don't want anything that's hard, because you might scrape some paint off or anything like that. But just a soft bristle brush, you'll get the dust off in no time. Hard, you say? I knew there was a reason we got him up. Way! Said it again. What is the perfect colours to use to get a great World War II-esque green military fatigue colour and to get a nice military khaki colour for the armour? Any suggestions would be much appreciated. Krieg camo is great for it. Krieg camo. Krieg camo looks like this. Like that. If you want it over grey sear, Krieg camo looks like that. And then for your tan colour, you probably look at something like Agaros Dunes, which is slightly darker than Skeleton Horde. Of course, I've been doing this on my Krieg. That's snakebite leather relayered with Steel Legion drab. That's a nice looking gobbo. That from the new set. No, Guitarro, it's categorically not from the new set. The Snarlfang Riders are old. They're not that old. They're only about 2 years old. Lots of dirty minds in chat today. Yeah, I'm surprised. You've all cut the the dirtiness has come out, and we went past 69 likes ages ago. Ah. I guess it depends on model, but best / easiest technique for good results to practice, highlighting, blending, etc. I mean, you can't go wrong with practicing on Space Marines. Like, for practicing highlights on Space Marines, perfect. Space Marine swords are also really good for practicing things like blending and stuff like that, because they're really big. You know, it's a really fat blade on a Space Marine, so you just have lots of opportunities to practice things on. So, for example, like a Blade Guard sword, there's a huge amount of space in which to practice things like blending and stuff like that. Tyranids have been a lesson in blending. Yeah. Tyranids are also good for practicing on. Plus, you get loads of them in a box. But that's the thing about Space Marines. Currently, Tyranids and Space Marines, they're the cheapest ones to get hold of, and they're the ones you can practice on as well. I've got a question about cold skin. I have frozen bases. My scouts and my custom chapter master have bear skin. I'm not sure how to go about it. Would Pilar Glacier over Guilliman Flesh? Yeah, it would add a certain blue pallor to it. It depends on, like, honestly, like, the best thing to do is to look up cold skin, and you'll get a film. So, like, or like Frozen. So you can do things like just paint it normally, but then very fine way stipple in very gently some patches of like snow. And what I mean by that is use a bit of white, just like very gently around that. You can make stippling brushes really easily if you just take an old brush and use a pair of scissors to just snip it right close to the ferrule. You can make a really, really nice, precise stippling brush with which to just dab on patches of white. You could use Pilar Glacier, but that might make them just look a bit like that they've just been out and they've been out in the cold. They've gone blue, basically. But if you like Google like frozen human skin, sounds weird, you'll see examples of what it looks like. Best recipe for gold without using gold. I've been trying green cold white highlights, then wash of yellow contrast and re-highlight with bright yellow and white. I don't really know. I've never done gold without using gold. If you're talking about using sort of basically non-metallic metal, that's not something I do. So I wouldn't be able to give you a good enough answer to that. Are there any regiments you wish got a refresh range of models? Yeah, Catachans and Catachans would be nice, but realistically what I want is a Vostroyan, not Vostroyan. Well, yeah, I want Vostroyans, but what I really want is Tanith first and only. Because we've never had a Tanith first and only set of miniatures. So, like, that would be ideal. You and Joe campaigning for a Tanith Ranger. Yeah, well, yeah. That's because Joe is a man of taste. But Tanith First and Only are just, they are an iconic part of Games Workshop's history in terms of when it comes to Black Library. And they did Gaunt's Ghosts, and it went down an absolute treat. So having a full army of First and Only would just be awesome. It would be amazing. Like, it's something new, it's something different. And it's something interesting. Is what I would say. You know me. I always veer towards new models that I've not seen before over larger versions of old ones. Is my preference of things. That being said, when it comes to the making larger things of older models, I want them to exercise no restraint when it comes to redesigning said model. If you go, here's what Games Workshop are capable of when it comes to making their miniatures. If you were to start again, what does a new version of that look like? That's how I would want it to be done. Rather than, what does the old one look like? Cool. It's not actually that bad. We'll make it taller. You know? More regiments is something I've always wanted. I was worried in the last few years the metal ones were phased out, but now I have hope. That's it. I mean, it could happen. It could happen. Me following your Gaunt's Ghosts vid was the first time I was like, whoa, okay, maybe I'm good at this. I love to hear that. I loved painting Gaunt's Ghosts. Need to shake off the Asserman style of redesigns. Well, yeah, okay, so that actually goes back a little bit further. Imhotep the Stormlord. His cloak is billowing the other way. Otherwise, it's identical. Right? And that's the problem with Imhotep. Is there a way to make a warm grey, or is grey just a cold colour? Kind of. It depends on... So in the colour space that is grey, there's the warmer side of it to the colder side. When you then compare grey to other colours, no. It's always going to be cooler. So within the grey space, for example, it gets colder the brighter it is. Or if you go towards putting blue in it, that's where it generally tends to get colder as well. So if you compare, for example, Fenrisian grey, or even Administratum grey, versus Storm Vermin fur, right? So these are your options, right? So there's Administratum, there's Storm Vermin Fur. Administratum Grey, you can see it just there where it's separated thing. There's hints of blue in it. That's what makes it cold. Whereas Storm Vermin Fur has got brown in it, which is why it's warmer. But fundamentally, they're still cold colours, especially if you then go, well, what does an actual blue look like? Let's go Calidor Sky. Calidor Sky is a warm blue. So then next to that, that's a warm blue, that's a cold blue. and then they don't really sit in the same colour space there at all. Whereas if we go that Storm Vermin fur, and then we compare it to, say, Mechanica Standard Grey, cold, warm. Does that make sense? Now, one thing you can do with grey to help avoid any confusion, or to make it appear warmer or colder, is you can change the highlight colour. So if you have something like, let's say, Eshin Grey, right? And you highlight it with Dawnstone, right? I would suggest that that is a pretty cold progression, Eshin Grey to Dawnstone. But if you throw in brown, it now becomes warmer. See what I mean? Cold. Warm. All would work. It's very it can be very contextual, basically. I think I need to look more into colour theory before I finalise my Krieg theme. If fair enough. I can help you, so, a little bit with this. So if you find a colour wheel that you like, let me find one. Does that one work? No, I don't like that. Because there's slightly different versions of it. They're all kind of the same, but there's some that are more in depth to the others. How about that? Yeah, that one will do. Okay, so let me just pull this up on camera. Go over here. What am I looking for? That one. Okay. So this is a heroic. Not heroic. This is a color. This is a color wheel. Okay. So when it comes to figuring out your colors, there's a little bit of this over here, and I can drop the link to this in the chat as well. Actually, I just got it from this website here, which will help as a little bit of an extra, little bit of extra information. But essentially, what you have here is you have a natural, you have a color wheel. So when it comes to picking colors for putting together schemes or things that go together, there's a couple of rules that you can follow in order to do so, right? So you can go for complementary colors, right? Which is a color that is on opposite side sides of the color wheel to each other. So, for example, if you look up here at E4007F, can you see my mouse cursor here? That one there, it is a complementary color to this one. Will be directly opposite. Will be this one here. So burgundy, well, pink and this green, basically. It's not quite lining up to my eyes. Okay, that is a contrasting, complementary color. Then you have triadic colors, which is another way to pick your color schemes if you don't want to go for a completely complementary thing which sits opposite each other on the color wheel. Triadic is where things are, as you can see there, 3 colors spaced equally apart on the wheel. So, for example, if you picked here E60033, you just go around here until you kind of count how many of these there are, and like the kind of would be there, like this, like that kind of things. You want to be able to draw a triangle on your miniature, well, through on the color wheel, basically, because it's equally spaced apart, basically. Split complement, as you can see there, a color and the 2 colors next to its complement on the color wheel. So a split complement would be something that is opposite, so red and blue, and then the split would be Bosch and Bosch. Make sense? You can also, as long as you keep things fairly spaced apart, you can draw all kinds of shapes on a color wheel to come up with a color theory, right? So you can draw a square, 1, 2, 3, and 4, like that, to create a 4-color color scheme. So that'd be red, vaguely yellow, green, and sort of dark blue, almost purple. Those 4 colors would work together. What you don't want to do is go, I'm going to do something that is orange and slightly lighter orange. Green and slightly darker green. Make sense? That's basically the basics of it. If you're trying to come up with something that is color theory based, basically. But another thing that's interesting here, and I'm just going to go like this. When you want to create a striking scheme on miniatures, paint in triangles. And what I mean by paint in triangles is if we look at Space Marines, okay? If we just find, let's say, an Ultramarine. Let's go with you. There we go. So if we go back over here. So look at this Terminator, okay? When I say paint in triangles, you can create a really striking scheme if you, as the viewer, are able to create triangles between colours. What I mean by that is, on this veteran Terminator, we can look at the white helmet, we can look at the knee pad, and we can look at the Ultima there, and we can draw a triangle like that. We can do the same thing on this side, but. Do you see? You can do it with the black, here, to there, to there, to there, here to here, back of the leg as well, all that kind of thing. You can see it on things like this guy as well. It's a really shallow triangle, but you can go gold, 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 gold. Cursor doesn't show, by the way, does it not? How about now? Can you see my cursor there? Yeah, so you can go shoulder, shoulder, Aquila. Shoulder, shoulder, Aquila. Red. Eye lens, eye lens. Thingy there. Eye lens, in there. But. Silver. But. See what I mean? I'll go back to the Terminator again. White, 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 white. White, 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 white. Purity seal. Yep. Here. Islands. But. It's a way to... You just need 3 of each thing. Yeah, so it's how it can work. It's a way to... It's a way to make it feel uniform and striking. So, if I show you... once again... one of my Kriegsmen... You can draw a few triangles on this, right? So you've got the helmet and the shoulders. You've got the helmet, the cuff, and the shoulder. You've got the legs going up to here like that. See? And that's how you know that these 2 colours are the kind of, you know, they're the main... That's why they work. Because there's enough of this that it creates a pleasing look where it looks like it's part of the theme. So, if you're painting your, let's say, a Space Marine, and you're trying to come up with a color scheme, you get your 2 contrasting or complementary colors opposite each other, paint one of it the whole color, and then your complementary color, which is the opposite color on the color wheel, if you can make a triangle with it visually, you'll go, why? That looks like a black and white scheme, for example. Does that make sense? Is that an interest? Is it, you know? I'm just I'm trying to impart lots of knowledge tonight. I hope you find that useful. Or if you don't find it useful, you at least find it interesting. It doesn't have to be a specific proportion of triangle, no. Any 3 points can make a triangle. Yeah, exactly. So, not everything stands like this. Right? But, like, not everything stands dead on like that. Not anymore. It used to, but it doesn't stand like that anymore. It doesn't have to be a perfect equilateral triangle or isosceles or anything. It's as a way of creating visual interest as long as it kind of fits that shape, that sort of 3-point shape, triangular thing. And you don't have to do it with every colour. It doesn't have to be, I have to have, you know, as you can see with an Ultramarine, it's all blue, but blue and white is the scheme of the Ultramarines. It's because you have blue and then you have the white points. And the heraldry of a Space Marine is designed in such a way where you can create those triangles, which creates a striking scheme. It's the same thing with the gold. If the gold on the Aquila was just gold on the Aquila, you wouldn't say an Ultramarine is blue and gold. It's like how, generally, a Blood Angel, if you ask somebody what the scheme for Blood Angels is, it's that they're red. It's because they are red, and they just have the black Aquila. Sergeants have the black shoulders, which creates a strong, striking... Whoa, there it is. That's a sergeant. What's your go-to big gun for a Leman Russ tank? I have 2. And hopefully I built them both. Haha. Battle cannon. Exterminator autocannon. No. How would black/white/grey fit into the colour wheel? Would you say you use the triad and then darken/lighten one of the colours in the triad to get the grey tone that fits? Yeah, kind of. Pretty much. I mean, black and white are interesting because depending on the colour wheel that you see, some of them you will see are very different. If you just Google colour wheel, you'll get loads and loads of different ones, right? What you'll generally see is you'll see it will be like either the more complex ones will start with a darker version of the color right in the middle, or a lighter version right in the middle, and it will grow outwards, right? So it will go. If I can find one as an example, yeah, that one will do. So this color wheel is a great example of that. So what you can see here is you can see white in the middle, and the colors white in the middle and the colors are getting darker as you go out. So in essence, if you were to expand this even further, you would say white in the middle, and you would keep going with shades of orange until it got to black, which would be probably somewhere behind this camera. Better idea would be here. So you go all the way out like this until you would get to black, like out here somewhere, with white being in the middle. White and black sit at polar opposites of each other because they are tones. So they will always complement each other because they are completely polar opposites of all colours, basically. Punisher will get some good use against new aspect Eldar too. Yeah, Punisher is a good shout. I do think that the Rogel Dawn battle tank, which is the one you're going to see the most often, I think, in Astra Militarum armies, my advice as Rogel Dawn builders is to put a Punisher rather than a Demolisher cannon. Get a chance to see the Astartes 2 teaser. I did. I watched it earlier. And then I thought, it's not coming out for another year, so I'll think about it later. I like the battle cannon and the big plasma the most, I think, as a new guard collector. I think the battle cannon is the best Leman Russ in the book by far. There's no question. When it comes to rules, the Leman Russ battle tank is just the best one, flat best one. The reason being is that it has built in, each time this model makes an attack that targets an enemy unit, reroll a hit roll of 1, and if that unit is within range of an objective marker you do not control, you can reroll the hit roll instead. It just has that built in. It just makes it really good. So you take aim it and you're hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s, or rerolling everything if it's on an objective. But for me, I want the Vanquisher. I want the Vanquisher to be amazing because I love the big gun on it. But the Vanquisher only has 1 shot and it hits on a 4, so you got a 50-50 chance as to whether or not you're going to hit with it, and I don't think that's fair. I think it should be 2 shots like every other anti-tank in the game, but there we go. I think what you definitely want in your guard armies is Leman Russ Exterminators. You just flat want them. There is no question in my mind. They make everything in your guard army even better. So in your shooting phase after this model has shot, select one enemy unit hit by one or more of those attacks made with its Exterminator autocannon. Until the end of the phase, each time a friendly Astra Militarum unit makes an attack that targets that enemy unit, improve the armor penetration characteristic of that attack by 1. The same enemy can only be affected by this ability once per phase. So you can't get it to -2, -3 by shooting it with multiple times with multiple different exterminators. But the point with that is you can make your hotshot las guns -2 with that. Or you can make your Rogel Dawns -3. So the Rogel Dawn's Oppressor Cannon, yeah, -3, damage 3, which is just incredible. But again, you pair the Exterminator with the Punisher. Now that is a spicy meatball. Because now the Punisher Cannon is -1 at 20 shots. So many invulns now, though. That is correct. However, you still want to shoot for -2. -1, -2 is the difference. It's basically like, so if something has a 3+ save, going to -1 makes it a 50% chance of survival because it puts it on a 4, which improves its which makes its odds worse by 16%. It's a 16 to 20% swing by just having -1. So even in the case of Custodes, it's a 16 to 20% improvement or lack thereof for them from their 2+ to a 3+. So it makes your las guns so much more efficient by having an Exterminator autocannon and hitting them with it. And the Exterminator autocannon is good. Like, just as a gun on its own. It's rapid fire 4, strength 9, AP -1, damage 3. Yeah. Twin linked as well. So it's re-rolling wounds. Big Bad Peter Gaming has been a member for 18 months. I want to see 62 cavalry army from you, man. 30 Rough Riders, 30 Death Riders. Well, maybe. Maybe. It's a lot of models I have to buy and build and paint. And the Attilan Rough Riders kit is not very nice. So, I'm going to... Ba-dee-ba-dee-boo-boo. I'm going to see if I can... use... Yes, I do. I have 5 free memberships to gift. See if we can snipe some grey names. There you go. Congratulations to you 5. That puts us on... No, that's the wrong thing entirely. 522. If he's doing cavalry armies, where is the horse and the rider? Where is the horn that was blowing? They have gone down like wind in the meadow, like rain on the mountain. How did it come to this? I hope I got that the right way around. I might have got that the wrong way around. So we are a mere 3 members away from our goal of 525. Can we get there, chat, in the next 2 minutes before I go? A detachment that makes the horse's battle line would be glorious. Well, yes, it would, Marley. Because then you could field 120 horses. but you'd have to build and paint 120 horses. Are Rough Riders and Death Riders on different sized bases? That is a really good question that I don't actually know the answer to off the top of my head. Is there a way I can find out? Would Krieg use Valkyries in the lore? I guess they would. I mean, they have to get down to the planet somehow. They look roughly the same size bases. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Because Adam's a legend with 5 gifted Warhipster memberships because he's an absolute boss. Amazing scenes. They deploy in artillery shells. Well, yeah, but like... there is a... conceivably, there are Valkyries. They must do. And like they'll be accompanied by Thunderbolt fighters and all this kind of thing as well on ships and this thing. Blocking in Gondorian warriors. Legend. Adam's going to be on like 4,000 or 5,000 painted miniatures this year if he just sticks to MESBG. If the Attilan Rough Riders are kind of tough models, would converting the Death Riders into them be worth it? Yeah, I mean, conceivably, yeah. You could do it. You'd probably need to do a head swap and maybe a hand swap. But you could do it, no problem. But yeah. Right, chat. It is now 10 to 11. We've gone over by nearly 20 minutes. I'm probably going to wrap things up there, my loves. Liam is doing all Death Riders and giving the Rough Riders spears and the Death Riders sabers. Good luck to him. I would like to see Liam paint that many horses. I think it'll drive him nuts after 5 or 1. My thing is infantrymen. I love infantrymen. All of my armies are all about infantry. I just enjoy it. Oh, and obviously we got the tanks as well. But I like big blocks of 20 infantry. We all know imaginary. Yeah, there you go. Like I want to eventually have 3 artillery teams and 3 field ordnance batteries and 3 basilisks. I want to have that as a core of an army, but that's in my head. I don't know how realistic that's going to be though, because that's a lot. That's a lot to do. But we'll have to see. I definitely want to get another artillery team. I think I will. I'm definitely going to buy a box of engineers, and I'm possibly going to buy a box of another artillery team, and I'm going to hope that Games Workshop sends me a heavy weapons squad and a command squad for now. You like big blocks of 20 and you cannot lie. Yep. That is exactly correct. Bye. When is the next live stream? So next live stream will be on Monday. We stream Mondays and Wednesdays. Mondays at 5:30 p.m. Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. Tonight was a bit more of a sit and talk. I didn't want to do any hobby because I've been cracking the whip all day, and I've got to go back to it now. So I'm going to be painting the thing I've been painting all day for the next 6 hours, and then moving on to another thing. But you know, it's the price you got to pay to YouTube. When's the next Tales stream? That is a great question. I'm not entirely sure. It will say, I can answer that question in just a moment. Let me just have a quick look. Live. 10 only Warhipsters. So the next Tales stream should be on the 9th of February. So not the first or second, the weekend after. Second weekend in Feb should be next time. So we'll be live again on Monday. We'll be live again next Wednesday. We're live on Mondays at 5:30, Wednesdays at 8:30. Tomorrow there will be a painting video for you. It will be Contrast Plus how to paint Fugen. And on Friday there will be another painting video for you. It will be Contrast Plus how to paint Assaman. And then on Saturday there will be a video for you, which I can't tell you about, but I'm sure you've already guessed it. Do you prefer Bard's Family or Assaman? Oh, God, that's like a choice between... Do you prefer to get hit in the knee with a cricket bat or hit in the face with a tennis racket? Neither. I'd rather wrestle a bear. Mate, thanks for your videos, passion and motivation to Warhammer. You are very welcome, Matt. I do this for you guys. And I also do this so that I can put loads of videos out and then pay my rent. But I also do it because I love Warhammer as much as you do, which is why I have so many bloody models to paint. Anyway, yes, painting videos. Well, basically, we're on daily content. It's daily content now until I think the 18th of February. There's a video or a stream happening every day. So please don't get sick of me. Please subscribe. We want to get to 80,000 and then 100,000 subs this year. Anyway, I love you very much, chat. Thank you very much for hanging out with me tonight. I'm going to go because I need the loo. And yeah, I will see you all very soon in the next one. Hand of farewell. Bye for now. Love you, chat. Love you.